Hi there, I'm John from CNCKing.com, and today we're going to do some plasma cutting and talk a little bit about dross using test plates. Regardless of the process that we use to cut metal, whether it's water jet cut or a plasma cut like you see behind me here, we always have an issue with dross. Now if you don't know what dross is this stuff here, which, let's see if I can focus. So you see it's a little bit of raised metal that's actually on the bottom side. Now in this case here I made two test pieces using the plasma cutter, and I used the settings for, this is 1/8 stainless steel and this is 1/16 stainless steel. They're both 304. 304 is more cost effective than 316, but you'd use 316, let's say, for mining or food preparation applications where the food comes in direct contact with the metal in a corrosive environment. Now, the settings I used for here I have been playing around with for a while and I've got them down. So you notice a little bit of dross on the top that just literally just comes off with your finger, and the bottom side, as you can see here, has almost none. Again, just something that comes off with your finger. Now what happens if I use the same settings on something that's half as thick using the same plasma cutter that you see behind me here? You end up with a lot more dross along here, but especially on the underside. Now the reason for the dross is because when the plasma cutter is cutting through it, it's actually melting the steel. And you also get that with the water jet, although it's a cold process, meaning that it's pushing the metal down, so you end up with dross, but it's not because of melting, it's because of the material just being pushed down. You really notice it on stainless steel, especially because it's such a hard material to work with for the machines. So this here is number 4 finish, and this is just like a mill finish for a 304 stainless steel. Now dross is a constant issue, doesn't matter how we cut the metal. If we cut it with the water jet, the nice thing is if the beam just stays there, it just doesn't create more dross, it just keeps cutting through and that's about it. With the plasma cutter it's a little bit different because we're melting the metal as we're going through it. And stainless steel is a really hard material as well. So what we want to do is try to get something where we have the lowest amperage possible, but still cutting through the metal. Now luckily for me, I have a torque type control and a few other settings and widgets on my machine that help me produce a really nice quality result, as you can see with this one here. So this one here, there's almost no dross here, but there's a little bit of dross here. And again, it's not a big deal. So how would you remove the dross? There's a few ways of doing it. If it's a larger piece of metal, like you sort of see behind me there, that wouldn't fit in a typical tumbler or vibration machine. So what you do is you just go through it with the angle grinder and grind away all the dross. If you're cutting correctly, it just comes right off. If you start having hardening issues and that kind of stuff, it's because you're sitting there too long with the plasma cutter specifically. Now the other way to do it is if you have a lot of little pieces. So this is another test plate that I have. Again, 304 stainless steel, because about 95% of the jobs I do are stainless steel of various thicknesses. So if I had, let's say, 100 little circles of stainless steel, it would be a real big pain in the ass to go ahead and use the angle grinder to try to grind everything on the edges, all that kind of stuff. Easiest way is to put it in a tumbler. So you put those hundreds of pieces in the tumbler, it turns around or vibrates. And what that does is wear out the metal along the edges, the top, the bottom, and by default produces a really nice surface finish, but it also gets rid of all the dross. And it just generally takes a couple hours. Again, it depends on how many pieces you have and what are sort of the angles on it as well. So if you're looking for custom plasma cutting, water jet cutting, contact me at CNCKing.com and we'll cut it for you.